This evening's topic is emergency lighting. One of the basic necessities of mankind has always been lighting or the need for light. We are light-sensitive people. Our eyes work in the daytime and not so well at night. And so having some kind of lighting source is really important upon us to have. In fact, if you go back into the ancient days, one of the first things that man wanted to do was to start fires, to illuminate the night, to shove back the darkness, and to stay warm and to stave off the boogeyman. One of the things that most of us never think about is that we live addicted to electricity. We are addicted to electricity. We live in a world where almost everything that we do has in some ways connected with electricity. And that electrical system is an extremely fragile system. As evidenced by the blackouts in New York, the brownouts that we've had here in California, it is a system that is easily taken down by man-made or natural disasters. And so we can't always count on flipping the switch and having those lights come on. In fact, some of the greatest times of people's freaking out during an emergency is not that there was an earthquake or not that there's a fire or not that there's anything else, is that they flip that wall switch and nothing happens and no lights come on. About 10 years ago or so, I was home cleaning my fish tank, and my wife was at a church meeting, and during that encounter, some car accident happened about a block away from my house, and it took down a power pole. Well, that put out the power for the entire neighborhood. And so when the power went out, I went to check to see it was me. Did I pay the electrical bill? Did I, so it wasn't just me. It was the entire neighborhood had no power. And so I was resolute and said, oh, fine, okay, no power. And so I went to my garage and I got a light out and I turned my light on and I continued to clean the fish tank. And I start hearing sobbing from the next apartment over, and I couldn't figure out why. And so I went and knocked on the door, and the lady opened the door. I said, "Are you okay?" She says, "Yes, I just can't get a hold of my husband, and I'm just sitting." I said, "Well, calm down." Well, first of all, she had only a wireless phone, so that didn't work. No power, no wireless phone, so she had no phone that would work. Her cell phone didn't get coverage in our apartment complex, so she couldn't use that way. So her and her daughter sat in the dark and cried. It reminds me, that old adage from the scriptures: better to strike a match than to curse the darkness. But she didn't have a match or candle one in her house, which I thought was very sad. So I provided her a lamp, gave her an oil lamp. I had a couple of them. Gave her one, made her happy. Had a neighbor upstairs, same thing. No match, no light, no candle, no nothing. So I provided them a light. And then the breezeway hallway in our apartment complex was very dark. So I got a light out and lit the hallway. So I lit up our entire, our half of the apartment complex, and I went back to cleaning my fish tank. Other people were running around, coming in. My door was open because I had a Coleman light, so they put out a lot of light, but also a lot of heat. And this was in the middle of August. And so I'm trying to, and they're coming in going, the power's out. Yeah, so my fish tank is dirty. So what has been the history of lighting? Well, the first days we had fire, but that's kind of hard to carry around a club and a torch and do anything significant with. And then when you take it inside, you're going to burn up your house. So one of the ancient ways was very simple, and that was take olive oil, put it in a small dish, provide a small wick, and that's a candle, otherwise known as an oil lamp. Oil lamps go back, and they're as far back as the Egyptian pyramids. And that's what they used to build the interiors to see in the darkness, was just simple olive oil, a dish, and a wick of some sort, goat hair or sheep hair. Parenthetically, one of the greatest reasons to stock your house with not just vegetable oil, but olive oil. Olive oil is better for you. It doesn't go rancid as quickly, and you could also use it for emergency lighting for lamping purposes. In fact, I'll show you a lamp here earlier that works on kerosene, and it'll work on olive oil as well. Then, as time went by, we started providing, they started having oil lamps. Oil lamps from not just olive oil, but from whale blubber and other sources like that. They would provide oil lamps, and these oil lamps were much brighter and able to, you were able to put them in a store, in a container, and have in a vessel, and have much brighter light with a better wicking characteristics. Then we went to things like gas lamps, natural gas or coal oil or those kind of things, where we had oil lamps that would light the day. It wasn't until Thomas Edison that we were able to move into the world of electricity and take electrical power and provide a light source. And we live by that light source. We live in a world where you don't know how dark the night is. Most of us live in the city. We go outside, even if there's no lights on, there is still ambient light around for you to see what you're doing and where you're going. It's just because there's light bouncing off of the atmosphere coming back to us. But in a major power outage, you have no idea how dark it is. Unless you go camping or something like that where you're out in the wilderness, and even then, we still seem to have some light pollution. Some of the darkest nights I ever remember as I worked on a cruise ship is being out at sea, when on top of the cruise ship, and we were going out to watch Halley's Comet. And so it was coming up, it was rising in the horizon just before dawn. And so to help us acclimate ourselves, they would turn off all the ship's exterior lights except for the running lights that were required by the maritime law. And so they would turn off all the bright lights. And we were sent out there in a dark, pitch dark ocean with no moonlight, no sunlight, no ambient light around, and it is dark. So man doesn't like dark. We need light. And so what can we do to provide some emergency lighting when you flip that switch and no power comes on? Well, there are basically three groups of lighting that we can provide. Thomas Edison gave us electrical lighting, but we also have the combustion lighting from old days put into new packages, and then we have chemical lighting. I'll share with you the first one, which is our old standby friend, the candle. This is an emergency candle that I bought. I don't remember where I got it, but you can buy ones like this, or either the taller versions. I refer to those as Jesus candles. You know, the candles that you can buy. You go into your almost every food store. They have them in religious icons with those kind of things. Or if you go to the dollar store or the 99-cent store, they have them for $1. And candles like these in a glass container, even the taller ones, will last 48, 72 hours. They last a very, very long time. They put out a lot of light, and they are really excellent to have around. Really inexpensive and good to have. For those who are watching this or in the audience, go out and buy yourself some scented candles. There's no reason why you can't have, you have an emergency, but it doesn't mean you can't smell nice too. And there are lots of those you get from the stores or from, there's even a company that's all they do is sell candles. Party lights and candles and candle holders and those kind of things. And so those are nice things to have around. The downside to having this is a flame. And if you have small children or anything else, pets or those kind of things, the flame and the wax can cause problems. You can start fires. If you've ever knocked over a candle and spilled candle wax into your carpet, and it takes forever to get out. So candles do come with their own set of problems. One of my favorite ones, and one of the ones I'm going to give to everybody who comes here tonight, because almost every time I come, I give away prizes, is these little votive candles. I love these little votive candles and the little holders that go into them. These little votive candles, each one will last about 4 hours.